Hi, today let's talk about the United Nations. What is the United Nations? It is an international organization founded in 1945. Aim is to maintain world peace. Its main headquarters is in New York. Consists of 193 member states. Discuss and take action on the issues confronting humanity. The United Nations is made up of 6 different types of main organs. The General Assembly, Security Council, Economic and Social Council, International Court of Justice, UN Secretariat, and the Trusteeship Council. What is the Security Council? The Security Council is made up of 15 members, which is 5 permanent members and 10 non-permanent members. The President of the Security Council rotates every month. It is important for the maintenance of the international peace and security. In the Security Council, a draft is being voted by the permanent and non-permanent countries. A draft does not pass if it fails to win 9 votes or a negative vote is being cast by a permanent country. NGOs and other countries are allowed as observers to debate but not to vote. These are the 5 permanent members: the United States, the Russian Federation, the United Kingdom, China, and France. These are the non-permanent members: Bolivia, Ethiopia, Kazakhstan, Netherlands, Sweden, Equatorial Guinea, Cote d'Ivoire, Poland, Peru, and Kuwait. Has the United Nations Security Council been an effective organization since its founding in 1945? Some of them say yes because it prevented escalation of major conflicts and became an important forum for countries. Some of them said no due to veto some issues cannot be solved. Peacekeeping missions have not achieved their intended objectives. For those who say it is effective because it prevented major escalation of conflicts by usage of preventive diplomacy and disarmament, such as preventive diplomacy in the African countries. It also prevents the escalation of Cold War, such as Cold War between Russia and United States, as Security Council provides a place for them to voice out their concerns. The Security Council also intervened in a number of conflicts. The first example we can see is the invasion of Iraq into Kuwait, and the second example we can see is the South Sudanese Civil War, which is the war between the governments of the South Sudan and the opposition forces. Security Council became an important forum for countries as countries often discuss various conflicts and global issues. Disputes are being brought up to be discussed by parties to a conflict when all other avenues are exhausted. Resolutions are recommended by the Security Council and is not binding if the dispute does not pose a threat to the international security. The Security Council is also a place to also keep pressure on veto-wielding countries when they veto resolutions pertaining to their national interests. For example, UK and France vetoed a resolution calling for the withdrawal of Israeli troops from Egypt. The outcry and the pressure heaped on the UK and France by the remaining veto-wielding countries would in the end force the UK to end the Suez Canal conflict. There are also some people who said that the Security Council is ineffective because due to veto power, some issues could not be solved. General consensus is needed to be built among the P5 countries. If one of the P5 countries casts a negative vote during the voting for the resolution will not be passed. Resolutions vetoed due to P5 countries prioritizing their national interests, such as the Syria civil war. Most resolutions against the Assad government has been vetoed by the Russian because of the good relationship between Russia and Syria. The second example is the Israel-Palestinian conflict. Any resolutions condemning Israel from taking military actions against the Palestinians has been vetoed by the United States because of the good relationship between the United States and Israel. Majority of the peacekeeping missions have not achieved their intended objectives. They are dependent on the political consensus of the veto powers, in which peacekeeping may not be in their intended strength as originally planned. Objectives are not realistic given the logistical and operational challenges for peacekeepers. The theory of international relations for Security Council is liberalism. So what is liberalism? Liberalism is a school of thought within international relations. It revolves around three principles, which is the rejection of power politics as the only possible outcome. It accentuates mutual benefits and international cooperation. It also implements international organizations and non-governmental actors for shaping state preferences and policy choices. Liberalism also emphasizes three factors that encourage cooperation among states. The first one is the international institutions, as it provides a forum to discuss dispute in non-violent ways. The second one is the international trade, as economies are interconnected through the trade and they are less likely to go to war with each other. And finally, the spread of democracy, as well-established democracy won't fight with each other. So now let's talk about the concepts of liberalism in Security Council. The first one is the common legal framework, the second one is collective security, and the third one is cooperation. So now let's talk about the common legal framework. The Security Council works on the framework provided by the UN Charter, which is also the foundational treaty of United Nations. The United Charter provides the Security Council with powers and limitations. Other than that, the Security Council can create additional binding framework for United Nations members if it poses a threat to the international security and peace. For example, the Security Council passed the Resolution 1373 on 2003, which encourages member nations to share intelligence related to counter-terrorism. Is one of the few binding resolutions passed by the Security Council. Thus, many actions of the Security Council have implications on international law. So now let's talk about the collective security. The security of one nation is the concern of all. It commits to collective response to threats and breaches to peace. This is the main principle found in the Security Council as stated in Chapter 7 of the UN Charter. The United Nations Security Council has the power to determine any threats and breaches to peace around the world, and through that they can come up with a binding resolution to overcome all these threats and breaches to peace. The collective security gradually evolved to providing means to ensure stability due to increasing internal state conflicts around the world. Various measures can be involved by the Security Council, such as economic sanctions, and if it doesn't work, the last resort may be resulting in military action. One of the most notable instances is the deployment of UN coalition force to liberate Kuwait from Iraq in 1990 when Iraq invaded Kuwait. And finally, cooperation. Cooperation is the key in making sure the Security Council performs its role in maintaining international peace and security. This is because to pass a resolution, a consensus among the P5 countries together with a minimum of 9 votes is needed to pass a resolution. Except for a few cases, members of the Security Council often choose to compromise and look for a middle ground when solving an issue. For example, the Syria civil war. 2 or 3 resolutions are passed. One of them is the Resolution 2401, in which result in a 30-day nationwide ceasefire. This allows the unimpeded access of humanitarian aid to the civilians in Syria. In the Security Council, all countries, including Russia and China, has voted for this resolution, because the middle ground of this issue is the life of the civilians in Syria. Resolutions of the Security Council also requires the cooperation of member states around the world to ensure they are enforced. And finally, Security Council also fosters cooperation with regional organizations, allowing these organizations to take enforcement action to maintain peace with their authorization. In conclusion, although the Security Council has constantly been criticized for its failure in handling major issues, we can actually see from this video that the Security Council has not failed in its role in maintaining international peace and security. In fact, the Security Council has either resolved many conflicts around the world or prevented the escalation of these conflicts. The Security Council is still an effective and relevant organization, and although we admit that the Security Council has many weaknesses, we also need to recognize its strength, and therefore, whenever someone constantly complains about the ineffectiveness of the Security Council, you can remind him or her that the Security Council is still effective and tell him the many conflicts it has resolved. We hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching this video.